Okay, hey everyone. Today I wanted to talk to you about horse and rider straightness. And when we think about dressage and the dressage training scale, one thing on that pyramid is straightness. We focus a lot on getting the horse straight, but it's really important to also consider the straightness of the rider and kind of how those two things impact one another. When the horse is crooked, it makes the rider crooked, and when the rider's crooked, it makes the horse crooked. So as you work to straighten your horse, you also have to really work on straightening yourself and your own position. So these shirts are a great way to see straightness. And you know, we all think that we're straight. Like if you close your eyes and you get straight in front of a mirror and you open your eyes, you think you're straight until you see yourself and you realize that maybe you're not straight. So these jackets are from Visualise Sportswear Canada, and this is a theory that's developed through Centaur Biomechanics and with Dr. Russell Mackenzie Guire. I'm going to link all this information below so you guys can find where to get these shirts. But basically what these shirts do is that they really give you a visual for your straightness. As an instructor, sometimes it's really hard to see with riders, like if they have baggy clothing or dark clothing, it's hard to see the straightness. So these shirts make it super obvious. So as you can see, there's lots of lines on these shirts. I'm going to turn around here because it's a little easier to see from the back. And try and get straight. Am I straight? Okay, so the line up the middle of my back is the first one that I really focus on, and you want to make sure that you are sitting in the middle of the saddle. You can also put a marker on the back of your saddle or on the horse's butt, but it's really important that your spine is right over the horse's spine. So you don't want to see like this, where you can see now that my spine is to the left of the horse's spine, and you also don't want to see like this where you're sitting over to the right. So this horse, he likes to push me off to the left because he's not the straightest horse. So I'm always kind of working on staying over to the right and making sure that that line is right in the middle of my horse's back. So you can get someone to video you and see this. Now the second line that we see here is the line across my shoulders. This line is really useful for seeing if you're collapsed on one side or the other. So you can be sitting in the middle of your horse, but collapsing, like, and bringing one shoulder up and dropping the other shoulder, or doing that in the opposite direction. So those are the two first lines to think about. Now, if I turn to the side, the line up the side here shows my horizontal alignment. So I want to be in a dressage position. You want to be vertical, perpendicular to the ground. You don't want to be too far in front of the vertical, nor do you want to be too far behind the vertical. And then these lines on my arms also show that correct arm position, that I have a bend in my elbow, that there's a straight line from my elbow to my horse's mouth. And so you don't want your arms to be straight, nor do you want your hands to be too high. So once you kind of assess these things, then what I have my students do is I have them just ride up the center line away from me, and that's how you can get the best visual. And what I would recommend you guys do is that you put these shirts on and then you just have someone video you, and without them telling you anything, just have you go up the center line and ride straight, and then watch the video and see if you're straight, because we all think we're straight until we see it, and sometimes seeing it is the best recipe to fixing it. So it's important. So I'm just going to turn up the center line. I don't have a letter A, so hopefully I'm straight here, and just go straight away from the camera. And then I'm going to track to the right at the end. Then you want to turn up the center line from both directions. So both from the left and from the right, because sometimes your straightness is going to vary based on the direction that you turned from. So here again, I'm going to turn up the center line from the right and just try and ride a nice straight line. And then I'm going to look at the video and see if indeed I am straight or not. So if you're not straight, then you need to kind of get someone to look at you and get you to the point that you're straight, and then you have to start memorizing that feeling of when you are straight. Now, let me demonstrate to you what it's going to look like. So this horse likes to push me off to the left. So if you're not straight in the saddle, you're going to get something like this. You can see how I'm hanging off the left side of this horse, and that's what this horse likes to make me do. So I need to get my butt bones more over to the right and get sitting right in the middle of him. Now, once you feel like, okay, you can go up the center line and ride straight, I like to have my riders ride a leg yield or a half pass, because that's where you start to see riders that want to collapse on one side. I'm going to go up the center line here. I'm going to ride a leg yield off my right leg, and I want to see that that X on my back stays nice and straight in my leg yield. So sometimes, I'll show it from the front, although it's not as useful. Sometimes in the leg yield, you'll see riders kind of collapse on one side like this, or lean to one side or the other. And when you have this jacket on, that's super obvious. So let me demonstrate the collapsing rib cage going away from you. You know, even, and this jacket is great to wear too if you have mirrors. So here I'm collapsing on the right in order to push my horse over. And this jacket makes that so obvious. I've got to think about that X on my back and try to keep it perfectly straight. So let me show you a leg yield off the other leg and how I might collapse. It's important to do the leg yield off both legs and also practice turning up the center line from both directions, because you're going to see different things in each direction. So here I'm trying to stay straight, but we'll see on the video if I am indeed straight. So then once you kind of have the trot down, I also like to go to the canter, and same thing at the canter. Go both leads up the center line and focus on seeing that you're straight, seeing that you're right in the middle of your horse, and noticing differences in your left lead from your right lead. So I'm going to do the right lead now. And again, like I said, this horse, he likes to push me off to the left, especially in this right lead canter. And I know that because I can feel it, but also because I've seen it. So I'm going to show you what he wants me to do on this right lead canter. He wants me to kind of be over this way, where I'm falling off the left side of him, because he's a horse that's stiff on the right and he doesn't like to bend to the right. So I'm going to try and get myself a little straighter now. I'm going to try and really sit on the right side of my horse, and then go up the center line again and see if I can't get myself straight. So this shirt is also really great for assessing your shoulders on circles. So I'm just going to ride a big 20-meter circle here to the right. And when you ride a circle, you want your outside shoulder to come a little forward and your inside shoulder to come a little back. So your shoulders need to mirror your horse's shoulders. Lots of times riders will have one side or another where they turn their shoulders the wrong way. So they'll do this on a circle, and you see he didn't like that when I turned my shoulders the wrong way, he broke. So they'll turn their shoulders to the outside And this makes it really hard on the horse to stay on the circle because your shoulders are turning the wrong way. This shirt makes that really obvious to the instructor what's happening. The other thing, let me change direction, that I see riders do on a circle is that they'll lean to the inside. And again, this shirt with a line up the middle of the back, I want that line staying straight up and down in the middle of my horse. I don't want this to happen on a circle. So just because I'm circling, I don't want to do this where I'm leaning over to the inside. I want to stay straight up and down. I have my inner leg at the girth and my outer leg behind the girth to get my horse straight. Boy, you're a good boy. So check out those links below, and I would highly recommend, if you struggle with straightness, to get one of these shirts and just simply, have someone film you and work on, being able to see your straightness. That's like the first thing, is just seeing that straightness and seeing your crookedness, and then work towards correcting it little by little.